G'day, guys. Welcome back to Statchat Sports. Just Steve and Tazza on the call today. No Josh or BT, both busy. World Cup, of course, finals edition. Taz, it's been a while since we spoke. Last time we spoke, we were going over the last round of group stage games and the round of 16. When we looked forward to the quarterfinals. So that's where we'll start. We'll just breeze through these relatively quickly because we've got a few games to cover. But I think in terms of the quarterfinals, I think we might have seen the best group of matches played so far in this World Cup here. All four were of the highest quality. They were now biting all the way to the end. A potential upset, you would call it as well, or a couple even actually. Let's start at the first, Croatia and Brazil. The favourites, one of the favourites, goes out on penalties. After 2 goals late, extra time.
Yeah, I think this was the game that everyone kind of almost put just kind of said, all right, that's a given. And yeah, it was our first upset. Really, it was our first big. They were the favourites. They were the favourites going into the quarters. So it was quite shocking to see them go out in that fashion. But Croatia are good value for it. They were. I mean, Brazil really did. Let's be honest. They dominated that game, and they probably should.
I mean, Croatia's keeper, deserved man of the match. I think he made 6 or 7 saves.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. He is the reason they won that. But it was. I mean, I wouldn't say they defended stoutly because it was down to Livakovic, who's. I mean, how is someone that's playing his trade in the Croatian for Dinamo Zagreb? I mean,
yeah, I think that is. Yeah,
I think yeah. I couldn't believe that. I thought he'd be playing some. I hadn't heard of him before this or before the tournament, and took a little Google search, and I was quite shocked that someone of that caliber, and I mean, he just played the game of his life. It was quite amazing, but yeah, look, it was a shock to see Brazil go out.
I mean, we spoke last time about players, that are on the horizon for a big money move or a big move after this World Cup, and he might have just put his name on that list, because I think he definitely deserves it. And I think I can't remember who it was, but I have seen a couple of clubs, batting for the signature potentially. So but I mean, penalties is never a nice way to go. And again, this is something we spoke about. This is going back a while now. This is going back to the African Cup of Nations, when we were talking about penalties and certain players not taking penalties. Neymar, the designated penalty kick taker, obviously because he chooses to take the 5th penalty, he missed out on taking a penalty here. And we won't go back into that debate because we've had it before, but especially after Rodrigo missing the first penalty, I think that's where he just says, "No, this is me. I'll step up next. Put it in, get some confidence in. Because who knows? Looking back at it now, he could have been a slightly different outcome. Given the fact that it's just about a guarantee for Neymar to score a penalty, but." Yeah, it's always a question mark for me when a player like that doesn't end up taking a penalty in a shootout.
Yeah, no guts, no glory. I think it's kind of you want all the highlight reels. You want the camera on you running away as you peel away, celebrating the winning penalty. But I mean, yeah, I think it lacks a bit of foresight there. I mean, he really should have stood up. He's a figurehead for that team. He really should have been there to take an earlier penalty, and like you said, just put a score on the board, essentially, just calm the nerves. I mean, he's not a spring chicken. I mean, he's been around. This may be his last World Cup. We don't know. So I would have thought it's a perfect time to put the nation on your back and really help them out. But I mean, it also doesn't surprise me that Neymar's done that, because he is a bit of a show pony.
Speaking of penalties, given the penalty that was scored in the 73rd minute by Messi, I don't would nobody saw the outcome of what happened in this quarterfinal after that between Argentina and Netherlands. How's the balls in the 90 plus 11th minute prime area for a free kick to do that routine that they did, and it absolutely paid off. Like, that is probably one of the best free kick routines I've ever seen.
The commentator, even, I think he was a bit shocked. He's like, oh, he's going for, I can't remember the words, but he was just like taken back by it. And the commentary really didn't befit the goal that had just been scored and the momentous, the occasion that had just occurred, because I think he was quite shocked. It's like, what just happened? You're thinking you're trying to whip this over the wall and top bins. No, he's crept it straight under, and Weghorst has just bundled it in for the tying goal. And yeah, it was quite wild. I think Weghorst was a substitute as well.
Yeah.
So for him to come on and bag both the goals there was huge for him.
Yeah, he came on. I'm just trying to see. He came on in the 78th minute, scored in the 83rd. So 5 minutes later, gets the first, and then scores the equaliser in the 11th minute of stoppage time. And he scored his penalty as well. So he did his job.
Did all he could do.
He did all he could do. I mean, it was a repeat of the 2014. I believe it was a semi-final, I think, between these two sides. When Argentina won that shootout to go through to the final. But you know, since we were on the subject of talking about, you know, players like Neymar missing out on penalties, Lionel Messi is the first person to step up for Argentina to take a penalty in a penalty shootout. You know, that's the right thing for me. You know, it gets that confidence behind the players, and they scored 4 from 4. And you know, Emi Martinez, he's making a bit of a name for himself in penalty shootouts and just penalties in general. He tends to save a few.
Yeah, he's super solid. And yeah, speaking about Messi, I mean, that's what a captain does. That's what a leader does. Puts the team on his back and just shows the difference in class between himself and Neymar.
From one goat to the next, Ronaldo out of the World Cup, having, it must be said, very little impact throughout the whole tournament, especially I think it was the last 2 games or 3 that he pretty much started on the bench. I think he started the last group stage game and the round of 16 game and the quarterfinal all on the bench for Portugal. Came on, didn't really do anything. But the surprise package, Morocco. I mean, first, they became the first African nation to make to make a semi-final, winning this. And I think the whole world was behind them after they did the job, because, you know, that's certainly an upset in my eyes.
Oh, it was the classic underdog story, and anyone who wasn't aligned to any of the other teams in this situation in the last 8, you're 100% going for them. I was. You want to see teams that can sort of break down barriers, like you said, with the sort of the record of African teams going back forever. They're breaking down barriers in terms of getting to the semis. So yeah, amazing, and it's going to be quite interesting to see how this team are they a product of a strategy, or can these players, obviously in their club careers, can they go elsewhere and secure big moves on the back of this, and kickstart maybe a new generation for Morocco? I mean, there are some class players in this team. Don't get me wrong. There's Ziyech, Amrabat, he's going to get a big money move. That much is for sure. Hakimi. There's some class players in there, but it's going to be interesting to see how this team fares sort of outside of this tournament.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll get to the semi-final obviously in just a bit, but they've done themselves proud. And I mean, you know, I think for a few of these players, it's probably the last World Cup. Like, I'm pretty sure, like Ziyech, I know he came out of international retirement basically after he was not picked in the Morocco squad for the most recent African Cup of Nations, and he came back for that. But yeah, I think I saw the other day that that Morocco's manager I don't know his name, but he was part of of some sort of like online seminar that Mikel Arteta held,
I
and
did say this.
yeah,
Mm.
people were sort of saying that he's obviously picked up a few things potentially from there, and sort of brought it over to Morocco. Hence, a potential reason why they're sort of doing what they're doing and beating the teams that they're beating. I mean, they hadn't conceded a goal from the opposition team all tournament up until the semi-final. The one goal that they conceded was an own goal.
Mm.
The goalkeeper, Bono, he had an unreal tournament. For plays his club football at Sevilla, so he's already at a high level. But he's just proved himself here that he's probably going to win the Golden Glove award, I would assume. I haven't looked into those stats, so I don't know what other keepers are sort of in that sort of bracket and area for that award. But having conceded 3 goals all tournament, including the ones in the semi-final, he has to be up there for me.
I think he definitely has to figure for that award, and the I think Walid Regraoui or Regru. Let's just call him Walid. You love to see that. He's a student of the game, and you like to see people who are willing to to spend the extra time and to take those kind of those things in. You like to see them do well. So good on him. It's been huge for him. It's going to be huge for a lot of these players as we spoke about. Portugal. I don't know. It's not like they weren't without chances. And
not at all, yeah.
I mean, Yao Felix. I don't know if you saw that shot that he almost curled in. It was pretty much out on the outside of the box. If that had gone in, that was my goal of the tournament. It was an absolute peach.
Was that right towards the end of the game?
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Ronaldo set it up for him. I think Ronaldo kicked it back, basically. Set it back, and he curled it top bins. It looked like it from the angle. It looked amazing from the angle, but what I was equal to it.
Moving on, in a group of games where we were talking about so many tight games and tight moments and just exciting football as general, I think the England-France game might have been the game of the round. It was tight bent. It was hard football. It was attacking from both sides, and it came down. Really, the game was essentially decided by a missed Harry Kane penalty after scoring one earlier in the half. He's probably not too impressed with the second one.
Yeah, I didn't watch all of this game live. I've seen it. I've seen it all, but I woke up pretty much 2 minutes before this penalty was taken, and boy, am I glad I did, because it was. I mean, I've seen some reactions on Twitter as well, but I saw basically a screen grab on Twitter. Someone tweeting, Kane never misses. Oh, Kane doesn't miss. And then there's literally the FIFA World Cup Twitter page right below it. Kane misses, exclamation mark times 10. It is, it's poetic. It's amazing. But
By the way, while we're just on the topic of this penalty, how was it not given as a penalty why did that have to go to VAR? I don't think that could have been any more clear and obvious as a penalty to anyone.
Hernandez has bulldozed him. I mean, that was. I don't know how. Yeah, I completely agree. It just absolutely dumbfounded me that wasn't just given straight away. I've seen much more contentious penalties given dead on the spot. So that was a shock. Yeah, and I mean, I've seen a lot of people pointing at why was Kane allowed to take the penalty against Lloris. I mean, Spurs striker versus Spurs keeper. I mean, he buried the first one and he smashed that. I mean, after the first one, you'd think, I mean, why wouldn't you let him take it? He absolutely buried that past Lloris, but he's always he is England's main penalty taker. I don't think you deviate from what you know in a situation like that. You go back to to what you do, what you know best. So you can point it, you can turn it a million ways, but I mean, who else is going to step up and take it? Rashford, maybe.
Mm.
But just super unlucky from Kane.
Yeah, I did see all those questions being asked about it as well, and where I can agree and and see where they're coming from. I don't think that played a factor as to why he missed. It's just he just got under it too much, because if that's obvious, if that's on target, I know Lloris dived the right way, but that's unsavable. You know,
Yeah.
it happens. He just didn't quite get it right, and he missed. But you know, besides that, there was still plenty of other chances for both sides in the game, and Olivier Giroud scoring the winner, who I believe it sort of came out after the game that Gareth Southgate highlighted him as one of the weak links in their side, and one that they, you know, England could look to exploit, which baffles me anyway, considering he's France's top goal scorer now. Well, not now, he was before this game, but yeah, I don't know how you can label someone like that a weak link, but you know, maybe because he, you know, didn't quite do
because he's not Kylian Mbappe, I suppose.
Yeah. Who, to be fair, did absolutely nothing in this game, really. You know, they shut him down pretty well, but there's just that much depth in this side, in this French side, that it doesn't matter that, you know, a player like Mbappe has a quiet game, and you know, because they've got the other players to step up and get the job done. So yeah, look, I mean, I picked France to make the final in the predictions. So there's and as we'll move on to now, they're there. But yeah, despite all the injuries and everything like that happened pre-tournament for them, there were some question marks there, definitely, and probably rightly so. But I mean, they've just proved to the world why they're probably the best, you know, nation in the world still at this point, because they, like I said, their depth is just unreal.
Yeah, and they're the defending champions for a reason. I mean, they're the reigning World Cup champions, so they're there for a reason. It's not an accident. It's not a fluke. We all know that. So I mean, they're just proving to the world that they're here to stay.
And since after that, we were left with our four teams, our four semi-finalists: Morocco, France, Argentina, and Croatia. And what made this just as, you know, exciting is the fact that no matter the outcome, in terms of who made it through and who's going to eventuate as the winner, a piece of history was going to be made. You know, we're talking obviously Messi's first World Cup win, Morocco being the first African side to win a World Cup, you know, Croatia, which would have been their first, and obviously spearheaded by Luka Modric, and France looking to be the first back-to-back winners since Brazil about 60 odd years ago. So there's a piece of history being made regardless of who was, you know, who's gonna go ahead and win it here anyway, which is the best kind of scenario. I think it's what you love to see. But the semis almost didn't quite live up to the expectations, I suppose, as much as the quarters. I mean, fairly convincing wins, especially on the side of Argentina. I mean, I think Messi obviously ran the show again. I think he picked up his third straight man of the match award with a goal and that assist. That assist for Julian Alvarez is like prime Messi-esque, the way he just dribbled around Gvardiol, who is obviously touted to be one of the best up and coming young centre backs at the moment, and he's just walked past him like he's not even there. I mean, this whole World Cup, especially for Argentina, has been the Messi show.
Yeah, I mean, Vardiol v Messi is almost two generations running around there. And I mean, such as the age difference. And Messi's made him look not stupid, but Messi's made him look pretty average, getting him around there and beating him on the wing and then beating him on the byline. So he's beat him twice. So in the same play. And nice little dink back to Alvarez for his second of the game. But yeah, I mean, I think Messi and Mbappe will be tied going into the final.
Yeah, both on 5
goals.
They're both on 5, and Alvarez and Giroud are both on 4.
Jeez, Alvarez on 4.
Mm,
Wow. Okay, he's come out of nowhere.
yeah,
Out of nowhere, he could get this.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I think he's what he scored. Obviously, 2 in this game, 1 in the game before. I think was it?
Yeah, and he had one. He obviously had one in one of the group stage games, but it might have been.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't against Mexico, so it would have been. Who else was in their group? Um, no, he scored against Australia.
Oh yes. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's his
Yeah.
there's his
Okay.
score.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. These games were a little bit. We were so spoilt with drama and just amazing storylines with the quarters that the semis. Yeah. I mean, for 2 clean sheets to have been kept, I think that's not what the neutral supporter was really wanting. We wanted even affairs, but it's not what we got. But we obviously got, I think, the 2 best teams in these semis moving on, and all things considered, I think that's what everyone really wanted.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, France, Morocco, on paper, it looks like a 2-0 win. It looks rather comfortable, but Morocco they had chances. I mean, that bicycle kick that hit the post, if that had gone in, that's goal of the tournament summed up right there and then.
Yeah.
They definitely had definitely had a few other chances in the game as well. So, I mean, that game wasn't without its excitement, but obviously you're looking at the scoreline, you think 2-0 relatively comfortable. Obviously this is where they conceded their first sort of goal of the tournament. Theo Hernandez rather.
So yeah.
With his and then a late second. So yeah, look, I mean, I think as from a spectator's point of view, you wanted an Argentina France final. I think it makes for the more interesting match. Plus it sets up a Messi versus, I don't want to say Messi versus France, but that's pretty much
Mbappe.
where the history is coming from here. Messi versus Mbappe. Messi for his first, France for the back to back. There's a lot on the line here. And I saw a few tweets going around that I can't see it being true, but talking about Messi at risk of getting the sack should he beat France, and he's like, oh, there was a few memes going around as like Messi returning to the PSG camp with Mbappe putting him on the transfer list after the World Cup final. So we all know the power that Mbappe's got in that club. So
yeah, I mean, sporting director Mbappe, I mean, he runs the show. So I mean, Messi's got to watch out, doesn't he? Because he might be in the same boat as the other goat. And not have a club by the time he's knocked out. But yeah, I mean, for me, this is a real the final is going to be a real obviously for me, Messi's the greatest player getting around at the moment. Depending on which way it falls, it's kind of a changing of the guard. I think if France were to go and win it, I think you look at Mbappe and you can almost put him atop the pedestal.
But that would be his second World Cup by the age of 23.
And huge. I mean, add that to what he's been doing at club level. It's hard to not call him, especially at that age and what he's accomplished. How is he not the king of world football at this point in time? Obviously not, given the whole career. But then on the other hand, conversely, I mean, we've spoken about it before. But does a World Cup win for Messi finally get him that GOAT status? For me, it does.
100%.
For me, it cements him. It's not even close. I mean, it's close now. But throwing a World Cup, throwing the one thing that he basically hasn't won, and it's a done deal.
100%. 100% agree. Yeah. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And given, if Portugal had made it and had won it, given the very little impact that Ronaldo even, put or had on that Portugal side, it would have been difficult for, to make an argument for Ronaldo being the GOAT because he's got that trophy. Yes, he's got the trophy and he's got the accolade, but he really didn't do much to get him there. So, whereas, like I said before, Messi's not necessarily carried Argentina here because there's been others chipping in with goals, but I mean, I think he's had 3, maybe even 4 man of the match performances so far. I think he's had
It's
one in, I
full.
think it's, yeah, 'cause I think he's had
Mm.
one in every knockout stage match so far.
Yeah.
So I think he's had 3 in a row. So yeah, I mean, there's a reason for that. Obviously, he's playing out of his skin. So yeah, there's no doubt that an Argentina win solidifies him on that GOAT level.
And you look at, I mean, you could twist this story a million ways if you want to, but you look at what Messi did in this game and how he just ran. He ran the game, and then you switch to Ronaldo. He's never bagged a goal in the group stage. In the knockout stage of the World Cup. That was a stat. I heard that, and I thought it was. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was crap. I just thought someone was talking crap.
Well, I actually think besides last in 2018, where he scored the hat trick against Spain, I think all previous World Cups prior to that, he'd only scored 1 goal.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's
yeah.
I don't club level, international level, two different things, and I get that, but to be considered at the top, like the Mount Olympus of world football, you got to be doing it here too. So, and I mean, Portugal won the Euros. You look at it that way. That's a thing, but you want to do it on the world stage, and if Messi does it here, it's I think he firmly wears the crown.
So, have you got a pick? Who takes it home for you?
Oh, I've got my heart pick, but I can't split it with my head. I honestly don't know. I'm pretty sure the France's win against Morocco was the first clean sheet that they've kept all tournament, and that's something that rings pretty loud for me. So, I mean, their inability to stop goals. Whether I mean they're not conceding that many, but they can't shut the door, or they haven't shut the door apart from this game,
which they were lucky to do so. To be fair,
exactly, yeah, and I mean Morocco should have scored. So it was only the early goal to France that really changed the way Morocco played.
Yeah.
So I mean, and the game plan was completely dictated by that goal, and it just changed the whole shape of things. That could have gone a wildly different way, but I don't know. I mean, my heart goes Argentina. I want to see Messi get it done. I think a lot of people do. And I think they are playing the better football at the moment. I mean, Argentina v Netherlands was, I mean, it was 2 late Dutch goals that really got that. They were well in control of that game. Really. I mean, they were well in control of Croatia. That was pretty comprehensive. So, and I mean, Croatia, they're probably not. I mean, they made a World Cup final last year. I was about to say they're not one of the top teams in the world, but they've clearly backed it up 2 World Cups in a row. But yeah, I mean, and they've made them look average. They pretty much just brushed them aside. So, I mean, if I'm looking for someone, I'm going Argentina.
Yeah, I agree with you like 100%. My heart says says Argentina for Messi. I'd love to see him get it, but while at the same time, I'd love to see France win it again and go back to back, and especially with the amount of players that they had out. I mean, we're talking top players that they're missing. Benzema, Pogba, Kante, and Nkunku late out. There's just so many names there that they're missing, and they're still pretty much cruised. They pretty much cruised themselves through to a final. It makes you wonder just how comfortable they would have got here had all of those players been available. I mean, it could have made no difference at all. It could have made a complete opposite effect. But I mean, not only have they broken the whole, World Cup winners drought or curse, they've absolutely smashed it out of the park. And it's super hard to pick a winner. To be honest, it really is. You could honestly toss a coin, but given the fact that I'd love to see Argentina do it, I've got to pick Argentina to win. They've got it's yeah. I mean, I can't really comment more on it because it's just really hard. I'll be sitting
Yeah.
here talking shit for just no reason, to trying to find some sort of excuse or reason as to why one team can be picked as a favorite over the other. But yeah,
It's
it's just
nitpicking
too
at the
hard.
end of the day.
Yeah,
That's all you're doing. It's finding little bits and pieces to try and separate this, and there really aren't that many.
no,
I think they're all like very well balanced sides. Very, they're just they're super talented. I mean, these are the two for me. I mean, and Brazil. I think we looked at these three:
mm,
Brazil, Argentina, France. As the three best sides, three favorites here.
yeah,
So we are seeing two of the best sides in the world. And I mean, they're both humming along. And like you said, I mean, yeah, France could be doing it so much easier. They're missing the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, so that's that's another thing.
mm,
And on that, there is a loophole that could see Benzema back in,
yeah,
which is quite it's quite a storyline, and I don't know, it could act as a bit of a disruption to France. I think.
hundred
I
percent.
think it's unwanted media, unwanted publicity that they probably don't need at this stage. What do you think? Do you think they possibly entertain the thought of bringing him back in, or adopt a team first
No,
philosophy?
forget it. Just don't. You just don't disrupt that. You know, I mean, you've got yourself Giroud, who throughout the tournament 4 goals. You know, he's your highest. He's your highest goal scorer for France. There's a reason for that. You know, Benzema likes to explain himself as the Rolls Royce, and I think he's referred to Giroud as like a I don't know, but you know, basically like a beat. If we're using car analogies, he's like some beaten up old car basically compared to Giroud. But you know, Deschamps continues to pick Giroud, and Giroud gets the job done. So not only will it disrupt the team, I can't see it doing any better than you know what is already happening for them with Giroud in the side. You can't play them both. I just don't see it. I see it being pointless. You know, and if anything, you know, I see it doing more hurt than good. That's for sure. You know, so I don't think Deschamps even entertains it. It's you know it's come out because, like you said, it's media and it's a talking
Yeah,
point, but I don't even think he gets entertained by Deschamps because it's a waste of time, personally.
yeah, agreed. I think in car terms, Giroud's probably like a beaten old Peugeot.
Yeah,
There's a little French car there, but yeah, no, he shouldn't entertain it. Absolutely. I mean, you take what's gotten you there, and I mean, you've
absolutely.
got. I think Mbappe. I think he's got 5, doesn't he? So
Mm,
he'd be for France's leader, but then you've
yeah,
got Giroud just behind. Um, yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, we've got 4 guys here who are within a shout of the Golden Boot going into
mm.
the game. You've got Giroud, Mbappe, Alvarez, and Messi. Um, I don't have it on me, but when was the last time that 4 guys were a genuine shot of winning the Golden Boot going into a final? It seems like quite a decent. It seems like something that probably wouldn't happen all that often.
No,
Um,
no. I mean,
to,
I'm
for,
trying to think. I can't remember who won it last year. I know, because I'm pretty sure in 14 in Brazil, I'm pretty sure it was James Rodriguez,
yes, yeah.
or
Hmm.
was it Thomas Muller? It was one of those. And I think the year before that, in 2010, it was Diego Forlan. And none
Hmm.
if I am correct, none of them made it to the final. Um, so based on depending on who won it last year, um, you know, the team in the final may not have included the Golden Boot winner.
So last year was Harry Kane.
Oh, of
We
course.
bagged
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
James Rodriguez 6. Thomas Muller, 2010.
Yep.
He bagged
Okay.
5, and Klose in Germany had
Yeah.
5.
Okay, so
Hmm.
that would have been the last time then in 06 when Germany won it, Miroslav Klose bagging
Hmm.
5. So that would have been the last time that the team in the World Cup final had the Golden Boot winner. So yeah, we've got, it's not history there, but we've got, you know, a good race on their hands.
Yeah, it's definitely a rare occurrence, and I mean it'll be interesting to see who gets on the board first and how they do it.
And just lastly, our third place playoff between obviously Croatia and Morocco. You know, besides it just being an extra, another football game, is there much relevance to this really? I mean, I don't really think these many teams care who come third, especially the ones playing in it.
At the semi-final stage, you're there to win it. I mean, you don't. That's all you care about is making that final and getting your hands on the trophy. So I think it's just you're splitting hairs at that point. It's, I don't know, to just decide certain. I mean, these are you only decide the first four anyway, or the last four. So I mean, to be deciding third and fourth, it just seems a bit fruitless and a little bit unnecessary. I'm sure a lot of those players, knowing that they can't get it, they might be a little bit disheartened, downbeat. They probably just want to go home, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean,
have a bit of a rest.
and they got to go straight back into their club football, which they've still got 5 months of football ahead of them. It just seems like especially because we've packed this World Cup so tightly in amongst the season, it really does seem unnecessary. And I mean, if you're going to cut any game out of this tournament, it's this one. It's just completely pointless.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bit irrelevant. Besides, you know, it's probably a little bit more of a money grab for FIFA, and you know, because of tickets and on, you know, live TV coverage and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't ever really watch these games because, like, purely based off of relevance. And they tend to be goal fests, really, in sort of one direction of a certain team, because yeah, like you said, it's almost like they don't really care. They don't quite want to be there. They'll just do it, get through the match, and that's that. But yeah, no, I think we could probably do without this one.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen many of those third places over the years, but I can't see there being a hell of a lot of emotion in it.
Yeah,
It's just
definitely.
like, I mean, at the final whistle, I don't think the winner's going to be, yes, we did it. That's just not going to happen.
No, that's exactly right. Well, Tazza, let's wrap it up there. Next, at the time of recording this, the final's in 2 days' time. So yeah, we'll touch base after the World Cup final, and we'll maybe go through a few of the predictions and stuff that we did pre-World Cup, and look back at the whole thing as a whole, and see how it shaped up. But yeah, that's going to wrap us up. Thanks very much for joining us. Leave your comments down below who you think's going to win between Argentina and France, and we'll see you all next time. Enjoy the final. Cheers.